Imagine the silence of the night in Bethlehem, centuries ago. The wind blown gently through the hills, packing the leaves of the olive trees. The stars shone with heavenly clarity, as if each of them was watching the earth tenderly. In the midst of quiet darkness, God's presence was felt, not with thunder, nor with earthquakes, but with the delicacy of a whisper that touches the tired heart. In a nearby field, shepherds watched their flocks. Everything seemed common until the heavens opened and an angel appeared, bringing light and peace. "Do not fear," he said, "for today the Savior was born." That simple night became holy. An unexpected visit turned the ordinary into eternal. Similarly, today, in the midst of your routine, God also wants to visit you. It doesn't matter if you are lying after a difficult day or if your thoughts are still restless. It comes with meekness, not to demand, but to calm down. He enters where there is pain, where there is doubt, where there is silence, and fills everything with his peace. You don't have to make effort. No need to prove anything. Just be. Just allow. Tonight, the God who calmed the sea, who spoke to Elijah on the hill, and who walked to Daniel in the lion's grave, wants to talk to you, not with high words, but with the soft comfort of the divine presence. Take a deep breath, give your thoughts to God, and allow your peace to guide your dreams. This quiet night you lie down, maybe with a tired body, maybe with a little heart. Outside, the city falls asleep. The lights diminish, the sounds go out, and time seems to slow down. Within you, there is a soul that yearns for rest. Not just a physical rest, but the one that comes from a greater presence. A rest that only the sky can offer. It is at this time, when the world silences, that God chooses to visit his own. In the Bible, many of the divine visits happen precisely in times of loneliness, sleep, silence. In the evening, when the man still stands, the sky moves more clearly. God is not far away. He doesn't sleep. And tonight, he chose to be close to you. Remember Abraham. On an ordinary night, under an endless sky, God called him out of the tent and said, "Look at the heavens and tells the stars, if you can, so will be your offspring." And there, in the dotted darkness of heavenly lights, an old man was visited by an eternal promise. He did not ask, did not plead. God came to him. And this same grace is now hovering over your room, about your soul. Now think of Jacob, tired of a long journey, with a stone as a pillow, and the sky as a ceiling. He lay down, and in dreams, he saw a staircase that touched the sky, with angels going up and down, and the Lord himself saying, "Behold, I will be with you, and keep you wherever you are forms." When he woke up, he exclaimed, "In fact, the Lord is in this place, and I did not know." We do not perceive the presence of God because we expect something grand, spectacular, but it comes with simplicity. It comes in the soft sound of the wind, in the deep breath of those who sleep in peace, in the subtle certainty that settles in the tired heart. You are in this place, and the Lord too. Listen to the breeze that touches the window. She has already blown in ancient fields of the Holy Land, already carried the smell of the flowers, of the garden of God. It has already brought the voice of God to the ears of the prophets. She is the same one who now touches her face, like an invisible hand that strokes, that comforts. This breeze is not just wind, it is memory of the eternal. It's God's breath whispering, "I'm here. Tonight, I came to you." Imagine the desert. The clean sky reveals thousands of stars. A man walks, guided only by faith. This man is Moses. After an exhaustive day leading the people, he retracts himself, looks at heaven, and sometimes silent. There are no records of this moment, no great theophany, but certainly in that silence God visited him. Because God is not restricted to great manifestations. It is also in the moments that no one sees. God visited Elijah not on fire, nor on the earthquake, nor in the fiery wind, but in a soft breeze. On a cold night in the cave, Elijah heard the voice of the Lord as a whisper that warmed the soul. You may be in your cave too. Perhaps the day was too long. Perhaps the noises of life have tried to silence their hope. But God does not shut up. He just expects the right moment, and he chose tonight. While sleep comes slowly, realize the details. The soft heat of the blankets, the light throb from your heart, the breath that deepens. This is life. It is a sign that God still has plans for you. It supports each cell, every beat. You are seen. You are remembered. You are loved. The pastors of Balaam were waiting nothing but a quiet night with the flocks. But the heavens opened, and a heavenly crowd brought the message. Glory to God in the highest. Peace on earth among the men to whom he wants well. The peace that was announced that night still echoes. She was not given just for that time. It was given for every night, including this peace, an eternal gift for distressed hearts. Feel this peace approaching you now. It does not depend on the circumstances. It is not based on what went right or wrong today. She is a gift. God is in control. Even when you don't understand, he understands. Even when you don't see the way out, it is making a way. And as long as you sleep, he keeps working. David wrote, "In peace I lie down, and soon I get sleepy, because only you, Lord, make me rest safely." What a beautiful phrase to keep in my heart before bed. She is not just an old poetry. It is an eternal truth. You can lie down in peace. It can drop the weight of the thoughts. It can rest high, far beyond what human eyes can see. There is a throne of glory, and this throne emanates light, justice, and mercy. Angels move in obedience, and tonight they received a mission. Surround you. Protect your sleep. Take care of your spirit. God's presence is not an idea. She is real, and it's here, now. You may be remembering worries, something that was pending, a bad word said, a body pain, a void. All of this can wait. Now is the time for God's visit. There is no space for fear where there is perfect love, and God's love is perfect. He throws away all fear. Imagine that you are in an old house, built with strong stones, in a quiet hill of Galilee. Outside, only crickets are heard, and the distant sound from a river. Inside the house, there is soft lamplight. You lie on a simple blanket. An angel plays the door, not to scare, but to bring comfort. He sits next to him, and he says, "You are not alone. The Lord sent me to watch over you tonight." As with Joseph, the earthly father of Jesus, in a dream, God visited him with direction. In a dream, God spoke to him, and Jose obeyed. Sleep becomes a place of revelation when the heart is at peace with God. And today, God can talk to you. He can heal memories. He can restore hopes. It can, with a simple touch, turn the environment of your room into a holy land. Everything is aligning. Everything is silently being prepared for you to enter a deep sleep, a holy sleep, a blessed rest. Tonight, more than any other, it is marked in the sky as a night of visitation. God is not far away. He is here, close, present, loving. Close your eyes for a moment. Breathe slowly, and say in your heart, "Lord, I get your presence. Stay with me tonight." That's enough. No complicated prayer, no formula, just sincerity. God loves the simple one, and he is already responding, even before you finish thinking. You are safe. You are involved in a presence you do not judge, which does not accuse, that does not press. The presence of God welcomes, consoles, transforms. And it is in this atmosphere that sleep will come, not as an escape, but as a gift from heaven to you. When the eyes close slowly and the senses stand, it is at this sacred moment that faith begins to whisper stronger. Faith is like a soft flame that never erases, even when the winds of fear blow around. And it is from her that comes the comfort you feel now, like an invisible blanket that covers the soul and warms the heart. God visits yours with love, but also with purpose. And often, what he wants to deliver is not visible, but inner. Trust, rest, hope, direction. God's visit tonight may not come with visions, but will come with security sensations that are not explained. a relief that seems to fall on the chest, a certainty that invades the spirit, a tenderness that rests on consciousness. This is the touch of the Most High. Think of the prophet Samuel. As a child, he served in the temple, and one night he heard his name being called. He got up confused, thinking it was priest Eli, but he was the Lord himself, calling him with love. Samuel, a boy, was visited in the midst of sleep. God did not wait for him to grow or become perfect. He chose him there as everyone slept to start something grand. This shows us that God's visits do not depend on our age, strength, knowledge, or position, just a heart willing. So it is with you tonight. God does not expect you to understand everything. It does not require you to have all the answers. He just wants to be welcomed. As someone who knocks on the door with sweetness, he expects you to open, even with a tired heart, even with tears, because it is precisely in vulnerability that his presence finds space to flourish. Faith is not absence of fear. Faith is the silent step we take even when fear insists on staying. You may be going through a moment of insecurity. Perhaps he is waiting for a diagnosis, or facing a loss. Perhaps it is simply confusing, not knowing what the future reserves. God knows, God sees, and that's why he came, to remind you that you are not just in this valley. In the Psalm 23, David writes, "Although I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will not fear any harm, because you are with me." Realize, he did not say that God would prevent him from passing through the valley. He said that God would be with him inside the valley. It changes everything. It is not the absence of the problem that brings peace, but the certainty of the company. Fear dissolves when you know who walks by your side. Remember Daniel, thrown into the lion's grave for his faithfulness to God. He spent a night surrounded by beasts, but none plagued him. Why? Because God sent his angel. The divine visit transformed the grave into refuge. And in the same way, God transforms his room into a place of protection. Even if the day was full of pressures and challenges, tonight he closes the mouth of the lions that surrounded you, and you can rest. True trust is born of intimacy, and this intimacy is built in the silent repetition of moments with God. Every night you pray before bed, every sigh of faith, all thinking of gratitude. All of this builds a bridge between you and the sky. And today, this bridge is lit. There are heavenly steps coming toward you. In Acts, we found Pedro in prison, between soldiers, with chains on his wrists. He slept, even in the midst of fear and uncertainty. And as he slept, an angel of the Lord entered prison, shone like light, touched him and said, "Get up quickly." The chains fell, the doors opened. The impossible happened at the most unlikely time, at night, during sleep, during the silence. You may be feeling stuck, concerns of concern, prisons of repetitive thoughts, but God visits precisely at these times. He enters where no one else can enter, and to your touch, everything you imprison, you begin to break. You may not see it yet, but in the spirit world, there is already movement. There is freedom being prepared for you. And even when fear wants to approach, God reveals himself as a shield. He is the guard who never sleeps, the watchman who watches his sleep. He said, "Do not fear, because I am with you." This promise is alive, and tonight she is fulfilled on you. Each beat of your heart is accompanied by eyes that never close. You are stored. The prophet Isaiah wrote, "You shall keep in perfect peace, whose mind is firm in you, because he trusts in you." This is what the Lord desires for you tonight. Peace, but not any peace. Perfect peace. Not just emotional tranquility, but a deep spiritual quiet. Confidence in God silences the noise of the world. She does not erase the problems, but puts each thing in place, under divine sovereignty. Remember the boat amid the storm. The disciples feared their lives, but Jesus slept quietly. They woke him up and said, "Master, don't you matter that we perish?" And Jesus, upon awakening, rebuked the wind and the sea, and said, "Silence, calm down." And there was bonanza. What does this teach us? That even when it seems that God is sleeping, He remains in control. And when we talk to him, even the winds obey. You can say to God now, in silence, "Calm my soul, Lord," and he will hear. You can just breathe and think of your presence, and it will make yourself feel. God doesn't need beautiful words. He responds to the sincere heart, to the whisper, to the desire to be close. And this desire you already have. Otherwise, you would not be here, listening to this message carefully. The whole sky leans when a heart cries out. And tonight, the sky leaned over to you. Maybe no one else sees. Maybe no one else knows what you carry. But God knows. And his visit is personal. It is not collective. It is not generic. It's with you. With name, with address, carefully. Now think about the people of Israel. Slaved for centuries in Egypt, they seemed forgotten. But the Bible says that God heard their cry and visited Moses with a mission. Free. God's visit always brings transformation. And today, even if you don't see a Moses before you, there is a divine move happening. God may be preparing people, ways, strategies, answers. As long as you sleep, God's visit never comes empty. It brings comfort, but also brings relief. She takes the weight you were carrying alone. She changes burdens. Jesus said, "Come to me, all who are tired and oppressed, and I will relieve you. Take my yoke upon you, because my yoke is soft, and my burden is light." He invites you to change the burden. You don't have to sleep with the same weight you woke up. You don't have to repeat the thoughts that tormented you during the day. This is a new night, a new beginning, a new visit, and the one who visits is faithful. He's here to stay. He came to heal. He came to silence all agitation. God visits with presence, but also with promise. Not only console, he anticipates something. It plants seeds during sleep that blooms during the day. So trust, even if it seems nothing is happening, everything is being worked on. And when you wake up, something inside you will have changed. You will feel lighter, firmer, more loved. Sleep, knowing this. There is a God who never fails, a God who visits, a God who cares, a God who remains. And tonight, it's your night. He came here, and there is no better place to rest than under the look of the one who created the universe and still cares about his rest. This sacred night, time seems to slow down. Clock pointers become just a distant echo. You don't have to run, no need to solve. You don't have to think about anything but now. And in this now, God's presence continues to manifest, silent and constant. Like the sun that even warms behind the clouds, it remains. Even if you don't see you with your eyes, he's here, more real than anything the eyes can contemplate. There is a softness in this night sky that touches the attentive hearts, a divine tenderness, like a warm breeze that crosses the fields of the soul. Perhaps the day has been long, full of responsibilities, unspoken words, pressures that only you know, but God knows too. He probes every thought, every hidden fear, every desire hidden in the corners of his heart. And he doesn't come to judge. It does not come to point out mistakes. He comes to hug you. As a father who sits on the edge of a child's bed, he only observes, with unconditional love, waiting for the right moment to play with peace, the one who loves. God visits silence, but it is a silence that speaks, a silence that heals, a silence full of presence. Sometimes all we need is someone who is, and God stays. He didn't turn his back. He never tires of waiting. He is patient, loving, persistent. Even when we run away, he remains. Even when we are cold, he keeps warming up. Even when we do not seek him, he is already seeking ourselves. Remember when Jesus appeared to the disciples after the resurrection? They were locked, afraid. But he crossed the wall, not like a ghost, but as the risen Savior. He showed his hands, spoke of peace, and shared the bread. He visited his own, even when they were isolated, even when they had doubts. This teaches us something deep. Neither the guilt, nor the sadness, nor human barriers prevent God from visiting his own. And now, think about Mary Magdalene, alone before the tomb, crying, not understanding. For her, everything was lost. But Jesus visited her personally. She was the first to see him after the resurrection. He called her by name, and she recognized the voice. This shows us that, in times of mourning, confusion, loss, God is even closer. It comes, he calls, he heals. Tonight, he also calls his name, and it does it with a meek voice, without haste. It does not require you to be strong. Only you are sincere. If you feel you are weak, this is the perfect door for divine action. For it is written, the power of God is perfecting in weakness. It is not when we are at the top, but when we are knees, that heaven open. Your eyes are already beginning to close. Maybe. The body slows down, and that's good. Because rest is a spiritual language. When you sleep, God continues. He sails. He acts. He sends angels. He speaks through dreams, as he did to Joseph, with Solomon, with Daniel, and he can talk to you. But even if sleep comes and does not bring any vision, God's visit will be real, because it does not depend on images, but on presence. You are becoming fertile soil for peace. Every breath you give is a seed. Each deep sigh is a delivery gesture. And where there is delivery, there is transformation. No strength is needed. Just allow. And in this allow, you will be involved in a peace that exceeds all understanding. Imagine yourself now walking through a field. The sky is orange by sunset. Ahead, there is a silent valley, and, ahead, a mountain that touches the clouds. You feel the floor under your feet. The wind touches your face. And there is someone by your side, a man of serene, long, and simple robes. He walks with you. It doesn't say much, but your presence conveys security. This is Jesus himself. And on this walk, he does not hurry you, does not push you, does not correct you hardly. He just walks beside him. This is funny. Faith need not shout. True faith whispers, he is with me. And for this certainty, everything changes. Not on the outside, but inside. You may be in the same place, with the same problems, but now you have peace. Because now you know it's not alone. God's visit not only changes circumstances, it changes the heart. It heals what time has not healed. She responds what no voice answered. It restores what seemed irreversible. Listen to the silence of the night around you. He is part of the sacred. The absence of noise is the space where God moves. Don't be afraid of silence. He is not empty. It is full of presence. In it, the voice of God manifests itself, not with human words, but with deep impressions, with gentle touches, with heat in the spirit. You may be reliving memories. Perhaps the day left marks. But God's visit also comes to clean, to renew, to purify. Like the rain that falls on the dry earth, his presence comes to refresh your tired soul. And every drop that falls from the spiritual sky over you tonight has purpose. Each drop is love. You are being bathed by mercy. It is not limited. It renews itself every morning. And before the day is born, she is already preparing her way. Everything that seems too difficult to deal with, he has already started solving. And everything you think is lost, it has already begun to restore, perhaps in ways you still don't understand, but that in the right time, they will bear fruit. You are no longer at war with your thoughts. They are now being surrendered to the voice of God. And that voice says, son, daughter, I'm here. As a pastor who finds the lost sheep, he carries you tenderly. He doesn't charge you, he leads you. Even if you have turned down, even if you stopped on the way, he came to pick you up. And now, he walks with you to the refuge of rest. God is shelter. He is not a concept. He is a place where you can hide when everything else fails. He is a strong tower. It is the shadow of a large rock on dry land. And tonight, you are under this shadow. A shadow that does not darken, but illuminates. That does not oppress, but release. Each beat of your heart is accompanied by the rhythm of the sky. You are not lost. You are found. And tonight will be marked in your soul. Because you not only heard about God, you felt it. He visited you. There is no greater blessing than this, to be found by God in the silence of the night, being involved in your peace without needing words. Be touched by your invisible hand that restores what no one else could restore. This is your portion today, and she is abundant. And just as a father covers his son with the blanket before bed, God covers you now with his peace. You can surrender to sleep. It can close your eyes without fear. You can rest, knowing that there is an eternal guard by your door. He doesn't sleep, he sails. And tomorrow, when you wake up, something will have changed. Because God's visit never passes in vain. She always leaves marks. Love marks, peace marks, marks of a presence that transforms everything. While the night deepens, silence becomes even more meaningful. There is a sacredness right now, a serene beauty that escapes the rush of the day. It is here, in this intertwining of time and eternity, that God visits the heart. Its presence is like the fine light of a lamp in the dark. No overshadow, but guide. Do not invade, but invites. And you were invited. Invited to rest, to trust, to simply be. Invited to lie in green spiritual pastures, even if outside the world is still in agitation. Because God's promise is not conditioned to the noise outside, but to the silence he plants inside. In all scriptures, we found times when the night was the scenario of revelation, as when Solomon received wisdom in a dream, as when Joseph, the father of Jesus, received direction while sleeping, as when Paul heard the voice of the Lord in a night vision. God is not limited to the day. He is also the God of the night. He is the God who speaks when everyone shuts up, that acts when everything seems stopped, that visits when no one expects. Think now, in Ruth. She came from a foreign widow, aimlessly, without perspectives. But God visited his story with redemption, and that started with small gestures, with footsteps, with seemingly common encounters. And one night, while Boaz slept in the field, Ruth was guided to the right place at the right time. There, a new story began. God does that. He reorganizes destinations, silently. He brings people closer. He intertwines ways. And when you least expect it, the answer arrives. Not with fuss, but with peace. Not with clearance, but directed. And tonight it may be the beginning of something that will change your story. Not because you see, but because it is acting even in the invisible. God specializes in operating in darkness, like the sower who throws the seed to the earth and, even without knowing how, sees the plant sprout days later. So is God's act in his life. While you sleep, it works. As you rest, it prepares. While you silence, he speaks to the winds, the angels, the circumstances, all in favor of those who love him. Hope then begins to sprout, and it doesn't come like thunder. She arrives like a breeze, as a good memory, as a thought that everything will be fine, even without knowing how. This is faith flourishing in the soul ground. This is the reflection of the divine visit that has already begun to transform what seemed untouchable. Your eyes may still be open, or maybe they are already weighing. Both states are sacred, because in both God is still present. He does not withdraw when the eyes close. On the contrary, he approaches. He sits next door. He watches with love, and sail for every minute of your rest. You may need to remember that there is no night that lasts forever. That all darkness, no matter how deep, has time to say goodbye. That the sun comes back. May joy be reborn. May the tears dry. Because it is written, crying can last one night, but joy comes in the morning. And this morning is already being prepared for you. God's promise does not fail. Although the days seem the same, it is not absent. Although the orders seem to have no answer, he is listening. Although the path seems time-consuming, it is driving, because he is patient. And even when we don't realize, he's preparing something bigger. Remember Anna, Samuel's mother. She cried in silence, misunderstood, frustrated, but prayed. And one day, after leaving her cry in the temple, she got up and was no longer sad. Something has changed inside. Not because the blessing had come, but because God had visited his inner, and that peace was proof that he had heard. You can also rest like this. You can deliver and rest. You can release control and trust, because God's peace does not depend on the end of the storm. It can be felt in the middle of the gale. It can be welcomed even without answers. And this peace is upon you now, involving, calming, healing. You may be listening to this moment after difficult days. Perhaps it is lying with a loaded heart, or perhaps only with inexplicable tiredness. It doesn't matter, because God does not measure the merit. He visits for love. He approaches by grace. He plays because he wants to be close, not because you asked for, right? But because he decided to love you. And there is no force majeure than this. Nothing can separate you from this love. Neither pain, no error, no time, nor past. He's here today, now, and whispers to your heart, "You are mine." These words are like honey over wounds, like oil on the cracked soul skin, like light at the end of a dark tunnel. You don't have to understand everything. Don't even know what will come tomorrow. You just need to rest in this truth. God is with you. He did not abandon you. He didn't forget you. He didn't change his mind. And tonight, he confirms this with his presence. His visit is also a seal, a reminder that you belong to a larger, higher, deeper plane. Sleep knowing that. May the same God who gave Adam to sleep to prepare a gift, the same God who made Jacob dream of angels, the same God who spoke to Solomon at night. This God is here, like you, ready to visit your dreams, ready to take care of your mind as you rest, ready to plant eternal seeds inside you. Feel this presence. Do not hurry. Don't run away. Just remain. Close your eyes if you want. Take a deep breath and feel. He is here, like a soft breeze, like a distant corner that packs, like peace that has no name. He is with you tonight because he promised, and the promise is this: I will be with you every day until the consummation of the centuries. Every day, every night, every moment, even now, even here, even in the silence of your room, even in the calm that now comes as a balm about your thoughts. You are loved. You are visited. You are blessed. And what God started tonight, he will complete, because he is faithful to fulfill everything he has promised, including peace, including rest, including the renewal. We live in a time where everything is urgent. The notifications do not stop. The clock seems to walk faster. The body moves, but the soul gets behind. In the middle of the rush, technology, invisible pressures, there is a need that screams softly, to be careful, seen, welcomed. And that's where God's visit comes in, not as one more task, no more requirement, but as a rest, like a lap, like a silent hug in the noise of the world. You may be surrounded by screens, but God keeps looking in your eyes. It may have thousands of appointments, but he invites you to rest. He may be trying to handle everything, but he says, "Come to me, and I will relieve you." Modern life may seem too noisy to hear the voice of God, but in fact, it is precisely in these moments that she becomes clearer, when everything else gets tired, when everything else weighs. The voice of the Lord whispers, "I am here." You do not need a monastery or a distant mountain to find the presence of God. She can be felt in your living room, in your bedroom, while you brush your teeth or close the windows before bed. God is where the broken heart is, and the modern heart, albeit wrapped in distractions, still calls for sense, direction, for peace. And he responds, not with more tasks, but with presence. Maybe you think you don't have time for God, but God always has time for you. He really visits the tired, confused, busy hearts. It enters where there is space, even if this space is small. Just a crack, just a thought, just a delivery gesture. And this is possible, even on the most running days. Because God is not competed, he reveals himself. And when it reveals, time slows down. The heart finds rest. You may live in a noisy city, in an apartment full of voices, traffic, commitments, responsibilities. Perhaps you have children, slips, goals, charges, but still, God visits you, not to get you out of the world, but to be with you in it. He is Emmanuel, God with us. No God distant, no God absent, but God present. Imagine Jesus walking the streets of today. He would go through the hospitals, the train stations, the markets. It would enter simple homes, in small apartments, in silent offices. He would sit next to those who work late. He would comfort who arrives home. He would embrace those who feel alone, even surrounded by people, because that's what he already does, even today. And tonight, he is in his room, in his story, in his soul. You may be listening to this message in a small break, or lying down, almost sleeping. It doesn't matter. God is in the time of now. He does not expect a formal cult, a perfect liturgy. He moves in real, daily life, in the imperfect, because he is a father. And real parents do not require performance. They love even when their children are silent. Maybe today you have tried to be too strong. Maybe you have loaded weights that are not your own. Maybe you smiled on the outside, but cried inside. God saw it all, and not to judge you, but to welcome you, to remind you that you don't have to be everything. No need to handle everything. You just need to be a child, and children can rest. In the modern world, everything is about conquering, but with God, it all starts with receiving. And tonight, you are receiving. No need to run, no need to prove, no need to perform, just need to rest, because God acts while you rest. He visits as you sleep. It transforms as you trust. Think about your concerns, in your commitments, in your insecurities, and now, imagine each one being placed in the hands of God as those who give a precious object to someone of trust. You don't lose it, just rest the weight of carrying it alone. And this gesture changes everything, because what you let out in God, He holds faithfully. The divine visit in modern life does not come with thunder, but with presence. She manifests herself when you go out of your cell phone, take a deep breath, and simply say, "Lord, stay with me tonight." It's in this simple phrase that the miracle begins. It is not in effort, but in surrender. God does not want an altar of perfection. He wants an available heart, and yours is. While the world says do more, God says rest more. While the world says produce more, God says trust more. While the world says you are not enough, God says in me, you are complete. And these words have power. They change the interior. They heal wounds. They re-signify the journey. You can live in the 20th century in one, but the same God who visited Abraham, Jacob, Mary, Peter, and Paul continues to visit his own. Technology changes, time runs, cultures become, but God's love remains. He didn't change, and it will never change. If you feel disconnected from everything, even yourself, no, God is the reconnection. It reconnects you to hope, to the purpose, to faith, to what really matters. And all this can start today, now, in the silence of your mind, in the warmth of your bed. The moment you decide to rest instead of resisting, God's grace manifests itself in the routine. She reveals herself in the details, in hot coffee in the morning, in someone's hug, in the night rest. And right now, it manifests itself through this sound, this voice, this moment. You are not listening by chance. This is visitation. This is careful. This is love. You can close your eyes now, not just to sleep, but to trust. And upon waking, it will not only have physically rested, will have been spiritually restored. Because one night with God is worth more than 1,000 nights without direction. A word from Him can change the course of a lifetime. A touch of Him can heal what years of human attempts have failed. God continues to visit your children, even in the accelerated world, even in the culture of excess, even in the tiredness of modernity, because He does not seek perfection. He seeks delivery, and a heart delivered will always be a home for the divine visit. Now, with your body delivered to rest and soul open to silence, I invite you to be guided by a soft meditation. Breathe deeply. Inhale, hold, expire slowly. And as the air enters and leaves your lungs, you feel God's presence, involved it as a mild and sacred cloak. Imagine yourself in a quiet field. Around it, tall trees swing gently with the breeze. A stream murmurs in the background. The sky is clean, starry. You are barefoot, and the floor under your feet is fresh and firm. There is peace, there is silence, and there is someone in front of you. It is Jesus. He approaches without haste. Your face is serene, his eyes full of tenderness. He says nothing at the beginning, just extends his hand and holds his own. The touch is light, but deep. In it, there is no weight, no charge. There is no condemnation. There is only acceptance. He knows everything in you, his victories, his falls, his secrets, and yet he remains. Jesus walks with you next to the stream. You don't talk, but you understand each other. Your heart hits peace. You feel safe, whole. And then, in a simple gesture, he sits on the edge of the water, and you sit next door. It is as if time stopped. It is as if there is nothing more to do except being with him. This is the visit that God makes when the heart is available. And this is the presence that will follow you tonight. It does not depend on merit. It depends on delivery. And you are already delivering, with every breath, with every thought of trust, with every quiet beat of your heart. Now close your spiritual eyes, and let prayer come like a whisper inside. Lord, this holy night, I completely give myself to your presence. I thank you for not giving up on me, even when I wanted to give up everything. Thank you for visiting me without hitting, for entering even when my doors were locked. You are the God who does not force, but who loves, the God who expects, the God who remains. I deliver you now, everything that gets tired, the doubts that weigh my mind, the fears that squeeze my chest, the errors that echo in my memory. Take it, sir. It takes everything. And give me back the lightness. Give me the peace. Give me the silence of the soul that only your presence can offer. Cover my house with your protection. Visit the ones I love. Visit those who suffer. May no heart sleep tonight without feeling a touch to you. May I even know that I am seen. I am careful. I am loved. Keep my sleep, sir. May my dreams be cleaned. May my mind be washed. May my body be restored. And that, when awakening, I feel that something has changed. Not out, but inside. Because you were with me. Allow the night to be an altar where I rest and you remain. That every second of this dawn is inhabited by angels. May your spirit rest upon me, like dew on the grass, smooth and constant. It helps me remember, upon waking, that you are still here. May your love not depend on what I do, but what you are. And you are faithful. You are good. You are eternal. Amen. Now, with the heart involved in this prayer, allow yourself to lie deeper into yourself. Don't fight sleep. He is part of the visit. It is in this place of surrender that silent miracles happen. The cures you don't see. The hits you don't control. The blessings you haven't even asked for, but God has already prepared. God will visit you tonight, maybe in a dream, perhaps only in a deeper than normal rest. Maybe you wake up with a different feeling, a new lightness, a calm joy. And even if you realize nothing extraordinary, no, the extraordinary has already begun within you. You can trust, it can rest, because God does not fail. God does not delay. God do not forget. And when he visits, he transforms, not with noise, but with presence. Stay in this silence for a few seconds. Feel the heat of the divine presence on your skin. Feel the lightness on your shoulders, the stillness in your thoughts. The body is now delivered. The soul rests. The spirit listens. And all this is an answer. You sought, and God answered. You called, and he came. You heard, and he stayed. This is not an ordinary night. It is a night marked in the sky. A night when the Most High entered the temple of his heart and said, "Here is my place. You can sleep in peace." If this message brought you peace, strengthened your faith, or helped your sleep, Consider supporting our channel, subscribing, and commenting which passage touched your heart, or which story you want to hear next time. Now close your eyes, and rest under the protection of the Most High. Good night. May God visit you, and remain